5 times 5 is?
25.
Yeah. Hey folks, welcome. It is Mathline time. You are at the right place, the right time. Everything. I'm Ernie Roberts, and I am your host for this afternoon's session. Specialized segments time. Summer school. The living is easy, right? Summer school and the living's. Oh well, you don't want to hear me sing either, do you? But I'm glad you're here with us today because we've got a great show for you. We're going to be looking at some different topics as we save throughout the time. Gives you a chance to sit back, relax. Hey, get those pencils though. Get paper, get a calculator, and let's get ready to do some math. Are you ready? I'm ready. We're all ready. Let's do it. What's our topic of the day, guys? Looks like we're going to be talking about percent. And as I say, more money matters. We're talking about money a lot this summer. You know, it's a fun thing to think about and so forth. And again, some of you might be watching us on the internet. That's fine. You can still do that work on the paper, pencil, and calculators and stuff. Those of you watching us right here on your TV sets, absolutely same thing. Get those pencils, papers, calculators all ready. Let's see what we've got in store today. First question, the concept is commission. You say, what's commission, Ernie? It's basically a way to be paid based on how many sales you make or how much the amount of money your sales definitely will reflect, all right? So you're paid a rate. It's a constant rate. In this case, we've got a salesman making 12% commission on sales, all right? Now, how much would she make on $30,000, all right? Good question. In other words, not making $30,000, boy, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And people can do that with commissions. But what we're trying to do is figure out what would be her commission. How much money would she make, all right? So let's take a look and see how we'd set that up. Percent gives me a hint, gives me a big hint because I'm going to involve 12 over 100 in there. We're going to use that part over as the base. And we're going to say that equals to your percent over 100, that good old multi-purpose percent formula we've been using quite a bit this summer, and actually use it every summer. You actually use that every day. You may do some of it mentally in your head, but it's basically a nice proportion. So you ask ourselves, what is the part? What is the base? Base is where do we start from? All right, she has done what? Well, she's got $30,000 in sales that she's made. So that's her base. Not what she's going to earn. She's going to get a part of it, right? Everybody good on that? Nod with me. You're on it. We're on it. We're all on it. Oh boy, we don't know how much though, do we? So that's going to be our N. That's the big deal. What is the part of that base that she's going to get to keep for her commission, her money, her salary, her life, all right? And percent, we do have that given to us. Be sure we keep that as 12 over 100. And some say, well, Ernie, I thought we could change that 12 to a decimal. We will in a different situation. I'm going to show you that in just a second. All right, we'll show you a second way, alternative way to work it where we don't use the proportion, and we will make 1200ths into a decimal. So just hang on with that, all right? But you're right, it can be done, but not here. Here it's 12 over 100. Everybody make sure you got that. Now, it's a proportion. We got the big equals. Everybody see the big equals? I'll even put them down there again. That means we're going to cross multiply. So we're going to pick up N and 100 going together very nicely. That gives us 100 N. Well, that was simple, wasn't it? Because remember, that's multiplication. It means 100 times N when we do that. Let's go the other side, and let's make 30,000. And we're going to multiply it times 12. All right? Multiply them together. You know, everybody knows, right? Well, we're going to hope you do, because we're going to go ahead and write our 100N down here again. Let's go ahead and simplify this 30,000 times 12. We can say 12 times 3, 36, right? And then while we're at it, throw in 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. And it looks like you got 360,000 there. Everybody got your zeros right? 4 zeros and a 36 at the front of it. And you say, is that how much we're going to make? No. We've still got to do a little division moment here, okay? We've got 100 times N, so what do we got to do? We've got to divide by 100. And we're going to work through that part. And it looks like we're going to be able to say, oh, lop off 2 zeros off of the end of 360,000. Say goodbye to these hundreds. And we have N equaling to $3,600. That's the commission. Now keep in mind, there may be other things that have to be paid, but if you're working in a department store or whatever, that's your money, you better be making good, right? That's where you come. You also will get oh my goodness, that's where it all comes to you, the money, right? And if you have to pay taxes on that, of course you will, all sorts of good things. So just be aware, that's your take home. That's what you get for your work this week or month or however long this is. I hope it's not a year because that's not very much, but per month, $3,600 isn't shabby. And for a week, it's really not shabby. If you could keep that up, that'd be great. All right, they'll let you buy the company after a while. Now, what about the other method I said? What if we had said 12% and change it to a decimal? Okay, and that means we move the decimal. Okay, what do we do with 12%? Y'all got it? Shift that decimal 2 places left. That gives you 12 hundredths. Well, that's what 12 over 100 means, right? So we're using the same deal here, all right? So we've done that. Now we're going to take 12% of 30,000. All right, so here's the deal. We're looking for that n to equal 30,000 times, this time, 12 hundredths. That means 2 decimal places. And guess what? You're still going to get, when you multiply, you're still going to get 36 with 4 zeros. But this time you're going to move in 2 places with your decimal. Well, guess what? Is that the same number? Absolutely. Still $3,600. Either way you stack it up. So 2 ways to work it. Proportionally, I like that. That way you're not really confused about the decimal. Here, you're good when it's 12%. Just remember, if you've got something like 6%, 4%, be sure you move that 2 places and don't forget to move the decimal 2 places, all right? You got to add a 0 in there, like 0.04, 0.06, things of that nature. In fact, why don't we look at one like that here in just a second, all right? That's a good idea, I think. How about it? Let's talk about real estate. Real estate agents make 6% commission on sales, all right? How much does she sell to make $150,000 in commission? Ooh, that's a different twist. This is saying what we want to end up with. A little bit more complicated, isn't it? However, I want to make sure we notice that 6% is going to need to have a little bit of work. So let's go proportionally. I think this is a good way to go to begin with, and then we'll come back and show you what could happen if you went and changed that to a decimal. We're not going to change it to a decimal right now. All right, everybody got that? When we do the proportion, we take that definition of percent, which is 6%, and we put that 6 over 100. So I'm going to go back over there. Always put percent over 100. Now, remember, part, in other words, where do we end up? Base, where did we start? What's the base? And let's read this problem one more time. 6% commission, we're good. How much must she sell to make $150,000 in commission? We folks know the part. We don't know the beginning of the story. That's what we're looking for. Everybody got it? You're looking for the base. Where did this $150,000 come from? That make sense? I think it makes sense. I hope it makes sense to you guys. In other words, we've got to figure out 6% of what is going to give us $150,000. Straightforward, right? Let's cross multiply and find out. It's a big number, my friends, because $150,000 is a nice whooping big load of commission, okay? So we want to take good care of that. Let's cross multiply and see what we've got. 6 in. Everybody's good on that, right? Nobody messed that one up. That was multiplication, remember. Now, let's do the other one here and watch out for zeros. My goodness, we've got a lot. 15 times 1, I'm good on that. Y'all good on that? I'm good on that. How many zeros do we need? We need 6 zeros, though, so be very careful. So we're going to add 3 zeros and 3 more, and there's where we are. Take it to the calculator. Let's do it. Let's see where we're going to go. We're going to take 15 million, count them, 6 zeros. There we are. We're going to divide by 6 because we're looking for something times 6 to give us that 15 million. And it's still pretty big. So we divide both sides by 6 here. And you see what we had? We had the n equals 2,500,000. Now, if you're doing real estate, that could be one nice, pretty, really pretty big, huge, humongous, wonderful mansion. It might be 10 mid-sized homes, all right? It may be also, yeah, a lot of different ways, but that was your amount of sales total, okay? Not 15 million, but what we did, 2,500,000. thousand. And my friends, that is dollars. That is dollars. Now, remember I said something to the effect, how can we get there and use the decimal form for 6%? Remember, now 6%, got to be careful. If you're changing it to a decimal, make sure you've got a 0 between the decimal and a 6. Don't put 0.6. That means 60%. You say, really? It does. And I see students, I see adults who go through that and say, oh, 6%. I'll make it 6/10. Well, they aren't thinking. They're just thinking, oh, I got to change it to a decimal, so all I need to do is move and make 0.6 or 6/10. That's not the same thing as 6%. 6/100. So be sure, move that decimal 2 places. A little lesson for you, all right? Now you say, Ernie, get to the point. Well, there is some point here, isn't there? How are we going to use this and 150,000 to get to this value here? Well, we're going to need to do, what did we do earlier? We multiplied and we divided. So we're going to do the division part here because we have already basically sent our 6% to a decimal. So we're going to go straight to picking up 150,000. And this time we're going to divide by that 6%. And we're going to see, do we get the same thing? I think we will, judging from what we had on the calculator before. Let's go back and see what we have there. Notice that's where we started with 15 million divided by 6 using the proportion approach. Let's cut off 2 zeros and see what happens when we put a division situation. All right, going to divide. But this time we're going to change that percent to a decimal. So 0.06, 6/100, as we like to say. Enter. My goodness, we got the same answer, didn't we? Which we expected. I hope we did. I hope we did. It's still $2,500,000. And you can look at that being your end value there, all right? It's the same story, all right? Just a different way to play with it. Notice when you start thinking of how to cross multiply, you can go pretty quick on those, all right? You don't always have to write down 150,000 times 100, although your teachers like for you to show that. I know that, and I do too when I'm teaching an algebra or pre-algebra class and we do things like this. But yet, you get that feeling, yeah, some of these things you can pull in your head. But still, the major steps, you got to show what happened when you multiplied, what you divide, then kick on, all right? So there's your story. Happy real estate sales on that. That would be great if you could go that far, all right? Now, let's take a look at what I said just a minute ago. Yeah, something like that. Let's take a look at this view of the commission, all right? Read the problem going on here. It says a real estate agent makes a 6% commission on sales. That sounds like our last person, right? How much would she make on 150,000? Do you see the difference, folks? Do you see the difference on this? This is where she started. She sold $150,000 worth of homes, real estate, property, all sorts of things. Now we're going to get the 6% commission. No, it's not going to be $2,500,000. Obviously, you know that. I know that. Let's see what it actually would become. So we're going to go back to our good old formula part over the base, equaling to that percent over 100. Got it? Everybody written down at home. Now, let's put things in. What do we know? We know the 150,000. We've got the 100, and we still have 6, okay? Again, no decimalizing here. We're going to take care of it, and we're going to divide by 100, okay? What are we looking for? This little guy right there, call it in. So this time, once again, this time we've got this 100 in, which looks kind of nice. And we're going to multiply, my friends, we're going to take this 150,000. Let's go for it. 150,000 to the calculators. And we're going to multiply it by our 6. And we're going to have a big number, 900,000. So here we go. Remember, again, how do we get those things? We cross multiply. All right, back to our little paper here. We've got 100 times n going that direction, which made 100 n. Now we're doing what on the calculator? We did 150,000 times the 6. And go for the arrows. If it helps keep you straight on what you're multiplying together and what you're going to divide by, all for it, okay? I think it's a nice little picture to paint for you there. So what did we say? We end up with 900,000. We are going to, yes, divide by 100. What happens when we divide by 100? Decimal moves in 2 places. Well, there it is, right over there. At the end of 900,000, so shifted in 2 places, we're at 9,000. Another way you can look at it, let's go back and write it what we had here. 100n equals to 900,000. If we divide both sides by 100, guess what happens? Well, the hundreds go away. Yeah, everybody got that. But look, the two zeros also cancel off. It's very easy. And you've got 9,000. You got to be careful, especially when there are a bunch of zeros there. Make sure, because my friends, 9,000 versus 90,000 versus 900,000, those zeros make the difference, all right? So this one is your money at 9,000. Again, let's go back to the approach that we said. Let's change that to a decimal, one other option. We could say our n is equal to what, 150,000 times 600. Once again, make sure we put a zero between that 6. And you know you're going to get, again, 9,000 out of that when you multiply those together. So again, either way is fine. You get the same answer, you get where you're going. Easy to check out. Are we good? Everybody like that one? I like that too. That may be one mid-sized house. It's not bad. Remember, you got to pay a little bit of advertising and other things that you signage and, oh my goodness, there are other costs, transportation. And sometimes they don't always sell that quick, all right? So again, real estate's a wonderful place to work. It's a great thing to do. Got to have patience. Got to have a base, like we did there. And also, always keep looking to add more and more to it because you're going to be taking away quite a bit, paying off those expenses along the way. Commission's just that. You don't get paid a set salary. You get a commission. That is your salary, and it's going to be based on how much you make, or how much you sell, and then you take that 6% of it. So let's see. That's good enough, some little money matters. Let's go shopping, all right? Spinach, good healthy stuff for us, right? So let's see, we've got a pound of spinach that has been marked from $4.70 to $6.20. Now everybody think with me on that. We're looking for what's the percent of increase in the price, all right? Now, it went up. The question is, how much did it go up? And by the way, what did it go up from? So you're going like, oh my goodness, there's numbers here. There are. And there's one more we're going to bring in, and that's going to be the new price. No, we've got that, right? $6.20. That's not important to us. Well, it is somewhat, but not yet. Not right now. What we are looking for is what was the percent increase. So we want to know how much did we actually increase. So a quick look at that. If you subtract 620 minus 470, and some of you are going like, Ernie, give me a minute to go to the calculator. Well, let's all go to the calculator then, all right? So we'll say it. $6.20, although not that hard, I don't think. Subtracting, what was it, 470? I'm hoping we're going to get $1.50, $1.50, and when you're at the supermarket, it's kind of nice to be able to see how much am I saving. It does. Now you say, where's the zero? Well, it just kind of took it off because 1 5/10 is the same as 1 50 hundredths. So here's what we got to remember here. The increase, first of all, is $1.50, $1.50. Everybody good on that? Nod your head with me. Good. Now, we're looking for the percent. Now remember, go back to our little old formula, and this is a good place to put the formula. It really is. It's the part over the base, and that equals to your percent over 100. Folks, this time we're looking for the percent. See? It doesn't have a number attached to it. Didn't get cut off with my face or anything either. We've got to find that one. That's what we're looking for, all right? So there's going to be our N. This is, for many students, the hardest part of working with a word problem. Where did you start? Where did you finish? Well, and look again, what's the focus? The focus is not your new price. The focus is what is the what? Increase. Everybody say that? Say that word with me. Increase. You see it right there. I'll box it. That's what we're dealing with. So that's our part. Guess what? The increase is $1.50. So we're not going to worry about $6.20. Sorry, not right now. All right. What we are going to worry about, though, is that we started at $4.70. That's your base. We'll put the $1.50 right up there. Don't think this one's going to come out even, but that's okay. We'll round it off to the nearest percent or maybe the nearest 10th percent. You get the idea. That would be courtesy of the instructions, whatever they happen. So here we go. Let's cross multiply and see what we get, because that's where we are at this point. I am seeing, hope you all are seeing there, it looks like we've got $4.70 that's going to attach to the end, all right? Just 4.7 or 4 7/70 or 4.7 Oh, I mean, I got a lot of different ways we can say that. Cross multiply here, move the decimal because you're multiplying by 100 two places. That's a nice trick. It saves you from having, don't type that in the calculator. If we multiply by 100, we're just moving a decimal two places, okay? If there's no decimal in the number, it's at the end, then move it two places, all right? And we're going to the right, if you'll notice. So that 1 and 50 hundredths becomes 150, all right? You say, are we ready to figure this out? We are ready to figure this out. Definitely. Calculator, let me clear it, and let's go there. Calculator time. 150 divided out, my friends. 4 and 7/10. You can put a 0 on there if you like. It's going to work the same way. Woo! I'm going to go for 32. We're going to round it up to the nearest percent on this one. So approximately it looks like you got an increase, 32%. Almost a third. Almost a third. 33 and a third percent would make a third increase, okay? Increasing by 33 and a third percent means you would pick up that much. So, how about that? Does it work? Is it quick to check it out? Certainly. Now remember, we did round off a little bit here, but what we would say on the calculator, let's see, go back and do a quick check on this. We would take our original price, which is $4.70. We'd multiply it by, and again, remember, we rounded up. So this is not going to be perfect, but it very seldom ever is in a perfect world. So we're going to round that percent. We're going to change it back to a decimal. And we're going to add it on to, guess what? Our 150. Now you say, Ernie, what's that going to do for us? That should get us back. That should get us to our new price. Because remember, here's where we are. I'm 32%. Plus, let's go back again just a second. I don't want to do that. Let me cut back here just a second. I want to fix that just a little bit. Let's make that 470. And now we should be at 620. Some of y'all going like, oh, I see what you're doing. In other words, this is the markup. This is where we started. So be very careful, all right? This is going to get you that $1.50 or close to it, we hope, all right? Which should get us back to $6.20. Everybody good on that? And again, calculator is a wonderful thing, but you've got to remember, what are you telling it to do? And speaking of which, let's see what we're telling it to do. See if it knows what to do. Enter. Are we back to 6? We're pretty close. Remember I said we rounded off a little bit? So that little 4, by the way, it's cents, so it doesn't matter, right? So we are at 620. Back to our problem here. It checks. It checks. So again, the easy check, take that 470, which you took 1/3 of, and then add it back to 470, and you should be at the 620. And that did, as we noticed, checked out very nicely. So there you have it. Easy going and a nice practical application. A lot of times we want to know, what is the percent of increase? And again, we've got to take it back to the original price, and there's our increase. Okay, so there you have it. A good one to go with, right? Everybody good on that? Nod with me. I like it too, all right? Now, let's take a look at a problem here. We're just going to start this. We'll finish this in another segment, like if you tune in tomorrow, or if you tune into our next part of the deal here that we're doing in summer school. We're going to just look at this thing and read it through. This is a long word problem. And I'm going to give this to you so you have a chance to work on it, and then we will put it together. We're going to put it together on our next show. Everybody good on that? Nod with me? Fine. Let's see what's happening here. Tamika is investing money into a stock that pays 5% interest, and she's put twice as much into a stock that's paying 8% interest. And the annual interest from the two accounts is $315. Are you writing that one down? That is quite interesting, isn't it? So let's take a look at it. We're getting stock 1 plus stock 2 gets us some interest, all right? Now let's go back and say that's the interest of stock 1. Interest of stock, yeah, we spell it out. Interest of stock 2 gives us the total interest. That's the first thing we want to do when we see a problem that's got all these words. What's the story? It says, oh, if we add one interest to another interest, we get the total interest. Now, they're different, right? Everybody with me? This 5% one, we're going to put some money in, and then we're going to put some more money in at 8%. Now, what's the key? What's the little Oh, there's twice as much going into that stock. All right. So you've got 1 versus twice as much, but the interest rates are different. So hint, 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 hint. I equals PRT. By the way, this is for 1 year, so we're just looking annually. So if you can figure out how to make a nice interest of those, by the way, keep in mind, you don't know how much money is going in there, do you? Call it X. Over here, you've got another one. Twice as much, call it 2X. And remember, change the percents to decimals and see what you come up with. And by the way, the total interest is where we have our 315. We'll figure this one out next time, all right? Cliffhanger on Mathline. Don't we love it? Don't we love it? But that's things that you worry about with your money. You don't always want to put them all in one special thing. Maybe stocks are different, but you know what? We'll be back next time and find out what's going on.
Hello, I'm David Reynolds, President of Home Federal Bank. On behalf of East Tennessee PBS and Home Federal Bank, I am pleased to announce this year's Be More Award winners. Each month, Home Federal Bank and East Tennessee PBS present a Be More Award and recognize a leader or organization that provides important services and support to our community. Home Federal is proud of our